The arena has a full-time doctor, a pension fund, a training salary, something that functions, legally, as a union contract. You are, by most measurable standards, one of the best protected workers in the city of Rome. That sentence should not make sense. By the end of this, it will. You don't know that yet. Level 1. The contract. You are 19 years old. Rome, 85 AD. The recruiter finds you at the dock on a Tuesday. And you make the worst decision of your life for the best reasons you have ever had. He doesn't threaten you. He doesn't need to. He lays the contract flat on a crate like it's a dinner offer. 3 meals daily, a bed, a doctor, a name the city will know. In exchange, your legal rights. Your right to refuse about 5 years. You ask what happens if you refuse a fight anyway. He says the training will make sure that doesn't come up. Marcus is 4 meters away loading amphoras. Your closest friend since you were both 11. Sleeping under the same warehouse overhang because neither family had a room. He is listening to every word of this conversation with his arms crossed and his jaw locked. Because he already knows what you are about to do. And he has already decided he won't. And he is right about you and wrong about himself, and neither of you will understand that for 2 years. You pick up the stylus. The recruiter smiles. You have never seen that specific smile before. Not on any face in this city. You file it somewhere and move on. Because there is a contract under your hand and a life under your feet that is not working. And you make the only rational decision available to you. Later you will understand what the smile meant. Later will come faster than you expect. Level 2, the school. You are 19, the Ludus Magnus, Rome, 85 AD. The food arrives the first morning, and you understand in under 10 seconds that you made the correct decision. Not the noble one, the correct one. Barley, lentils, meat twice a week, more in 7 days than in the 3 months before signing. Your doctor is a Gaul named Gallus. Scar from ear to chin. Before your first session. Before he hands you a wooden sword. Before he says a single word about fighting, he checks your hands. Not your sword arm, your hands. He turns them over. He presses his thumb into your palm. Into the base of each finger. He is looking for something specific. You ask what? He doesn't answer. Gallus answers almost nothing directly. You will learn to read him in other ways. And what he was reading in your hands that morning, you won't understand until you hear what Marcus's recruiter didn't do. 6 weeks in, word from the dock. Marcus took work on a grain vessel running Ostia to Puteoli. Better money than the dock. Salt air. He is doing well. You think, good for him. You think it fast. Because sitting with it means sitting with a thought that doesn't have a shape yet. Something about the fact that Marcus is free and you are not. And the fact that free is starting to look like a word that means something different, depending on which side of hunger you're reading it from. You pick up the wooden sword. You get to work. Level 3, the first crowd. You are 20. The amphitheater at Capua, 86 AD. 800 people. Loud since mid-morning. Not the Colosseum. This is where they find out whether you freeze. Your opponent is a Murmillo from Gaul. 26. 11 bouts. He doesn't look at you with contempt. He looks at you the way an experienced man looks at a problem he has already solved, which is worse. You almost lose in 30 seconds. He comes low and hard and your left foot moves before your brain does. 10,000 repetitions. Gallus drove into your legs without asking your opinion. You step left, shield, pivot. The blade displaces air past your ear. You win by the 4th minute. Then the crowd makes the other sound. Not cheering. Something underneath cheering. Something that enters your sternum before your ears process it. Like the air in the building changed its vote on something. You stand on the sand and you feel it move through you, and you think, I need to hear that again. That thought is the product the arena has been waiting to sell you. Not the training, not the name, not the money. That need. You will spend the next 6 years learning exactly what you'll do to feed it. 3 weeks later, word from Rome, the grain vessel caught a fever in Puteoli. Marcus survived, lost his position recovering. He's breaking stone near the Circus Maximus now. His left shoulder has been grinding since January. Though Marcus hasn't told anyone this directly, because admitting it means admitting the work is wearing him down. And he is not ready to admit that yet. You file that away too. Level 4, the name. You're 21. Rome, 87 AD. Aquila, the eagle. Gallus chose it because of how you move. Always from the side, never where the other man has built his anticipation. You hate it for 2 days. Then it appears painted on a tavern wall on the Aventine, and you stop hating it in under 10 seconds. And that is the most important thing that happens to you this year. Not the name, the 10 seconds, how fast the need answered. 9 fights, 8 wins, the 1 loss. The crowd raised their hands and you walked out breathing. And that sentence will never stop meaning something. A senator's household sends Falerni and wine. Women leave flowers at the Ludus gate. Gallus drinks the wine and says you've earned it, which is the most words he has assembled in a row since your first morning. Here is what this feels like precisely. It feels like being seen for the first time by people who would have stepped over you at the dock without slowing down. That is what the arena sells. Not violence, not death. The sensation of mattering. You bought it. The crowd bought it. 80,000 people who need to feel, for 2 hours on a Saturday, that their opinion decides something real. Rome sold it to all of you at different prices. You are starting to understand this. You are also starting to understand what the recruiter's smile meant, though you are not all the way there yet. Level 5, the calculation. You are 22. Rome, 88 AD. 1 in 5 bouts ends in death. That is the number everyone leads with when they want to put the weight of this place on your shoulders. Here is the number nobody puts next to it. Free men in the Sabura. No property. No patron. No trade. Average life to 31. Disease. Violence that no one records because no one important is counting. Rome kills its poor slowly, and without ceremony, and never charges admission, and 80,000 people never show up to watch. Think of it plainly. 2 contracts on the table. First, a bed, food, a doctor, professional training, a name the city knows, and 1 in 5 odds of violent death on the job. Second, legal freedom. No cage, no rules. Also, no food security. No doctor. You die before 40 in a doorway and the only people who notice are whoever has to move you. People who have never been hungry call the first contract barbaric. Everyone who has been hungry understands exactly why you signed. Rome was not subtle about this. It built a machine where the dangerous option and the rational option were the same option. And it stood back and watched free men line up to take it. The cruelest thing Rome ever did was not the arena. It was making the arena the best offer available. Across town, Marcus has been doing this same math for 8 months. He arrives at the same answer in the spring. He walks into a ludus in the Trastevere district. Smaller than yours. Cheaper. Faster. The recruiter watches him move. The recruiter does not check his hands. Level 6, the shadow. You're 22. Rome, 88 AD. When you hear that, you think of Gallus on your first morning. Pressing his thumb into your palm, into the base of each finger. Looking for what years of hard labor does to the tendons. What stone breaking does to the grip. What a bad shoulder. Grinding since January. Looks like in the hands of a 22-year-old man who has been telling himself for 8 months that it will work itself out. Gallus would have seen it in under a minute. Marcus's recruiter needed a body. He got a body. The contract was filled. You hear that Marcus has been assigned his first real bout. Experienced opponent. Trastevere school matches new fighters fast. Less time training means the slot turns over sooner. Either way. You hear this, And you do not sleep well for the next 9 days. You do not examine why. Level 7. The Arena. You are 23. The Flavian Amphitheater. Rome. 89 AD. Nobody describes the sound correctly. 7 fighters have tried to warn you. All of them said, you can't prepare for it. None of them found the word. You understand why the moment you walk out through the gate of life. It isn't a sound. It arrives in your chest before your ears report it. 80,000 people pulling the same breath, and the weight of it is physical. Something you feel in bone. You stop for 1 second in the gate. Not fear. Calibration. Eyes adjusting. The smell. Iron. Sweat. Sand covering something it hasn't quite managed to cover. Your name cuts through the noise. Aquila. 80,000 mouths give it back. And there it is. The recruiter's smile. You understand it now. Completely. Standing here, he had heard this. He knew that once you hear 80,000 people say your name like a response in a church, you will do almost anything to hear it again. Almost anything. Remember that word. Before your bout, you watch another fight end. The loser takes a knee, raises 1 finger. The crowd responds. Their thumbs fold inward, toward the palm. Spare him, he lives. You file that away. Inward means mercy. Every painting ever made of this place will draw the thumb pointing down and call it death. Every one of them wrong. Inward, spare, extended toward the throat, finish. The gesture will travel 2,000 years into every language on earth and arrive backward. You are one of the few people alive who knows which way it actually goes. Your opponent has done this 31 times. You learn the outcome of Marcus's bout in the corridor after your own. Level 8. The Verdict. You are 24. The Colosseum. Rome. 90 AD. Your opponent goes down in the 5th minute. His trident 4 meters away. Your gladius at the hollow of his throat. He raises 1 finger. The crowd folds their thumbs inward. Missio. He fought clean. He lives. You step back. The editor nods. You walk toward the gate. In the corridor under the stone, the man from the Trastevere school is waiting. He tells you in 2 sentences. Marcus's shoulder failed in the 2nd minute. The crowd at his venue did not fold their thumbs inward. You stand with that. No name on any wall. No second bout. The recruiter who didn't check his hands needed the slot filled for the following week. Gallus would have seen it in under a minute. 2 years. A shoulder. A recruiter who asked the wrong questions. That is the entire distance between your corridor and his. Level 9. The Last Morning. You are 25. The Ludus Magnus. Rome. 91 AD. Gallus checks your armor 3 times. He never checks twice. The opponent today is the kind of name the editor saves for the end of the program. Domitian requested him personally. Gallus doesn't say this. He doesn't need to. 3 checks says it. He steps aside without a word. You think of the contract. The recruiter's smile. The almost anything. Here is what almost means. You would not do what Marcus did. Sign at 22 with a shoulder already gone and a recruiter who didn't look twice, because by then the math had run out of other exits and the only door left was the one you'd been watching him walk past for 2 years. Rome built the math. Rome built the timing. Rome set the price knowing you would pay it. Knowing Marcus would pay it. Knowing that the only difference between the 2 of you was when the arena became the only rational answer. The contract ends in 14 months. They will offer another. You will sign. Not because you have to. Because the worst decision you ever made turned out to be the only one Rome left you. And somewhere in that fact is the whole truth of this city. And you have been standing in it long enough that it has started to feel like home. The gate rises. You lived this once. And now, you're history.